All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be breaking down the Sunday night showdown between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. Talking about my favorite prop bets and just bets in general. Let's go ahead and get into it. So guys, instantly, I will say this is one of the games that I don't necessarily love to break down for like betting purposes, because it's typically a game that it's so fun to watch for like NFL purposes, like being an NFL fan. It's more fun to just get enjoyment watching a good game, right? And a high scoring offensive game. 50.5 points is a game total. So for props betting, we're probably trying to find ways to stack bet slips based off of that, a bunch of overs that we could target based off of that. Okay. And it's a game in which is 1.5 point spread. I honestly, guys, just in terms of like betting like this, I do not want to bet on that. Okay. So far through the primetime games, I've given you guys the over in the Eagles Dallas game. Obviously, that was unfortunate to not hit. It was at 47 points. Had the freaking lightning delay, just came probably 30 seconds later. Sanders doesn't fumble the football, and the Dallas Cowboys at least get 3 points, and the over hits. I mean, that one was at like 63.5 at one point, live betting wise. That was tilted. And then the Friday night football game, I kind of mentioned the bet that I like the most then would be the Chargers to win money line wise. I honestly am just not going to give you guys a bet here. I just like it. For this, it's better to just prop bet, okay? There's no point of betting on it in this regard. So let's start with my favorite bet in this game. It's actually going to be Rashad Bateman for over 2.5 receptions. I'm a little bit shocked at this line just in general. Yes, this team played the Buffalo Bills last year at this time. I don't think we have to like overthink this too much. But he did have 5 targets in that game, 4 receptions. Okay, I think that ends up being a good spot for him. I actually don't mind the idea of betting on him to get over 3.5 receptions as well. We got to mention that Isaiah Likely is also banged up in this game. He's not going to play. And he is someone that has gotten a decent amount of hype out of like camp again this year. I do think he's someone that can take the next step. A slight concern, but not really, was kind of his week 4 matchup last year against them. The team had a different dynamic going, and I kind of expect what we saw at the end of the season last year to kind of be what we see again this year as well. Again, I think Likely being out kind of shifts the focus to more someone like Rashad Bateman in this game. So I do like that bet over 2.5 receptions. It is a bet where it's not a standard bet on most sites, so don't necessarily love that. And then another bet that I do like a decent amount is going to be Khalil Shakir to get over 4.5 receptions. So again, if this game is going to be this high scoring, 50.5 points, that should mean that the Buffalo Bills are having to throw the football a decent amount. Okay, the Ravens were actually pretty good at stopping the run last year. 2 of the worst games for James Conner last year were against the Baltimore Ravens. And so that should lead to a more pass-heavy script. The one concern that we have with someone like Khalil Shakir is his snaps. Okay, he's not an every down player, especially given the fact that he started the season out a little bit banged up. Okay, he hasn't gotten that much practice time. So to me, that is a concern. If he had played the full training camp and maybe we saw him in the preseason, I would be really gung-ho about this bet. There's slight hesitation, but on a one-game slate, this is a bet that I will be going out of my way to target. Now, that being said, if he does not get his over, it will be because of a player like Joshua Palmer playing a little bit more than we were expecting. He is someone that did have a good preseason. And so I do almost think that that is a one or the other situation. Now, we look at someone like Keon Coleman that we'll talk about as well. Keon Coleman also has a very low reception line, and he is someone that should be playing every single down. And again, reports out of camp with him have been that he has been looking good in camp. He has taken that next step. Josh Allen has complimented him a decent amount. No, Josh Allen is not someone that would talk bad about anyone as well, so you don't necessarily love that. But Keon Coleman at 2.5 receptions, this is so egregiously low. And so I kind of, in a weird way, I kind of like doing Coleman, Palmer, and Shakir for all over the receptions, knowing that 2 out of the 3 are probably going to hit. Maybe all 3 of them hit it if it becomes more of a pass-heavy script. Maybe the Ravens are the team that gets off to a big and early lead. Or maybe not a big lead. Week 4, that's what happened, and the Bills offense wasn't able to do much in that game. Now, that being said, I do think we are getting somewhat of some interesting lines here with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen as well with their pass attempts. Okay, so if you disagree with those reception lines for all 4 players that I just mentioned, you probably want to be betting the under for the pass attempts, which I don't mind. These are 2 teams that can eat the clock a decent amount to the point where there might just not be enough plays. And so I don't hate that idea. If you guys are looking to bet some of the unders, that is a spot that we can get to. Now, it is the start of the season. Okay, good weather all around, so it's not going to be as run heavy of a script as well. teams tend to air the football out a little bit more at the start of the season. But those were two bets that kind of stood out to me there as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the bet of the day for more traditional sportsbook bets. And then we're going to be talking about some like fantasy score bets between PrizePicks and Underdog that you can also use on like Sleeper and Better. If you guys are some that bets on those sites, stay tuned for this portion. Okay, and maybe if you guys are some that wants to start betting on those sites, stay tuned. I do want to call it that I do have a partnership with all four of those companies that I mentioned: Better, Sleeper, Underdog, and PrizePicks. And there is a free square on PrizePicks for Lamar Jackson tonight. So if you guys have never signed up before, take advantage of that. But before you guys sign up, make sure to use the link in the description below. Use the 9to5 code. So for all other sites besides Underdog, it's going to be the number 9TO5. For Underdog, it's going to be 925 spelled out. That'll give you guys the best deal available as well for those sites. That's just a simple and easy way to help out the channel as well when you guys use those promo codes. That really does not go unnoticed. So yes, let's go ahead and jump into the bet of the day for the more traditional bets here, guys. I do like these four the most. Okay, now again, if you do not like these bets, then you probably just want to be betting on those underpass attempts for Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I am trying to go with the overs because it's projected to be a high-scoring game, and if it's going to be a high-scoring game, it probably will end up being a pass-heavy script, and that's why I like all these bets. Again, with these three Buffalo Bills players, I kind of expect it to be a situation where 2 out of the 3 hit. Maybe we get a little bit lucky and all three hit. Okay, Bateman, I do like the edge there. I will say I didn't mention like Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. I don't mind some of their bets, but it felt like we'd be forcing those a little bit if we got to them. So if you like some of their overs, I would not talk you out of those 2 players as well. Okay, so I want to show you guys what the 9to5 PrizePicks cheat sheet is showing us are some of the best bets. And so if you guys are someone that maybe doesn't want on Palmer to get over his 2.5 receptions, well, you could end up betting his over fantasy score. Okay, so if he does end up playing really more than what the books are expecting, he should be able to get this over pretty easily. I really don't mind that bet. I think it's fine. But at the same time, if we are doing that, we might as well just end up doing his over 2.5 receptions. That correlates heavily though, so it doesn't really matter as a whole. Then we look at someone like James Cook here. If he ends up getting his under, I think this is going to be simply due to the Baltimore Ravens being good at stopping the run. This is a spot where last year he was 0 for 2 getting the over as well, but it'd be mostly due to him not playing that much throughout training camp. Maybe they start him off slow to the point where we see a little bit more of Ray Davis. I will say I don't hate the idea of getting to Justice Hill for over his fantasy score as well if he gets some receptions out of the backfield. Okay, so this would end up being a bet that if you think the Buffalo Bills are going to win by a decent amount, this would be a bet that you'd want to get to a little bit more because it would lead to a more pass-heavy script there for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, if you are betting on this, I would also suggest probably betting on an under here for Derrick Henry. We are going to notice we are seeing a big prop line difference for Derrick Henry between Underdog and PrizePicks here, guys. So that's another way to take advantage of that. So if you like if you think the Bills are going to win and maybe win by a decent amount, bet Derrick Henry under his fantasy score and then bet Justice Hill for over his fantasy score on PrizePicks. That's a decent way to go about kind of working with that, those 2 different sites. Again, you can bet that on Sleeper as well. And then another prop line difference that I want to call it as well is going to be Lamar Jackson and also Josh Allen in regards to their fantasy score. Both of them are off between the 2 sites between PrizePicks and Underdog. Okay, so they're both off a little bit here. So it really depends on which side you like there. Again, if you think it's going to be a high-scoring game, you could just simply bet on Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen for over their fantasy score of 21.5. If you maybe think that the lines are a little bit off, you could end up betting the unders on Underdog as well for them. Okay, I don't hate that idea. You know, it's one of those things where I have Red Zone on right now. It does seem like a lot of the teams are getting off to a freaking hot start this year. I think that's just due to a lot of the starters actually playing throughout the preseason. But it can be twofold, where sometimes offenses do not get off to that good of a start as well. They start off a little sluggish. Maybe that ends up happening. I doubt it. So I kind of like the overs a little bit more on PrizePicks, but I did want to call that out. And then, yes, with Josh Allen, I wanted to call that out as well. Basically, the exact same situation there for him. Okay, so decent edge there. Now, I already showed you guys the bet of the day. That is going to be the bet of the day for this slate. If you guys want to get to some of those fantasy score prop bets, you can. Again, we are getting a decent amount of prop line differences. And I do like calling those out for you guys. Now, this will be updating up until lineup blocks. So if you guys want access to any of those tools, the PrizePicks optimizer, the PrizePicks cheat sheet, as well as the Underdog cheat sheet and Underdog optimizer, head over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to those tools for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.